Well, our talk this morning, of course, is about Happy Thanksgiving, since Thursday is Thanksgiving. And so a Happy Thanksgiving to each one of you. And our talk, we actually broke it up in the middle, so it's Thanksgiving. It's all yours.
Already?
Already?
When you focus on what you're thankful for, you'll always be in a state of appreciation and abundance, because that's how it works. When we think about what we bring about, so therefore when we think about gratitude, we think about abundance, we think about all the good that we have, so therefore we end up in a pretty happy place. Because the human brain is incapable of being grateful and regretful at the same time. So the whole thoughts of Thanksgiving, we're going to have grateful thoughts. And all the regretful thoughts can just vanish off to the nothingness from which they came. It's not possible to think gratefully and live in a state of lack. God is all that is, so cannot want for anything. Simple. If God is all that is and all that we are, that must by necessity be true for us. We can't lack for anything, although we may think we do. We cannot possibly. We constantly remind ourselves of this truth by holding grateful thoughts, reminding ourselves that we are one with the universal mind of all that is, and so therefore we are one with all that is. It's really that simple. Remember, most of your stress comes from the way you respond to life, not how life actually is. We get a lot of stress from how we perceive life to be, not the way that life truly is. If you adjust your attitude, all that seems lacking will disappear or fall away. All the lack consciousness will disappear and abundance will be your truth. Actually, that is your truth to start with. Would you just let go of those thoughts of not being good enough or not enough or so on? There's not enough in my life. Just let all those thoughts go, and you come back to the truth of who you truly are. Eckhart Tolle says, acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. I had to read that a couple of times before it really kind of sunk in, so I'm going to read it a couple more times for you. Acknowledging the good that you already have is the foundation for all abundance. I'll turn it around. The foundation for all abundance is acknowledging the good that you already have. Does that make sense? It's really a pretty simple statement, but it is so true. It's simply about recognizing our blessings. Recognizing them. They're all around us all the time. But do we actually see them? It's like the stuff Frank was talking about, the millions of influences that are all around us all the time that we're not really accepting into our brain. We only accept a 40-50% or 40-50 bits of information every second, as opposed to the millions of possibilities that are around us all the time, but we just don't choose to go there. We accept only those 40 to 50 bits of information every second. When we realize or recognize, actually when we recognize those, we say, hey, I remember you, and recognize it as the truth of who I am, then we realize it, we make it real in our lives, and the blessings begin to appear all around us. They pop up from all the cracks and crevices, and like unexpected income, or like checks in the mail, or like possibilities that we never thought about before, but all of a sudden, hey, I think that could actually happen in my life, because now I see it as a possible, probable, potential truth of who I am. So like a puzzle, when we start getting all the pieces kind of all lined up and together, all of a sudden we start to be able to see the entire picture. We start to see where all the other pieces tend to fall into place. And we see how all the various aspects of life begin to fall together for our good. Simply because we're holding thoughts of the good in our lives, and we're allowing that to be our truth, and so therefore everything else seems to fall in accordingly. As we practice grateful recognition of our infinite good, we attract greater good awareness and greater experiences of good. As we hold thoughts of thanksgiving, we actually attract more things for which to be thankful. It's really that simple. That's the science of mind, in a nutshell. We're thankful for everything. The Judeo-Christian praise and thanks or the idea of giving praise and giving thanks is quite a powerful teaching. They're always giving praise and thanks to God for this and that and for life in general, and it's a very important element of Christianity to give praise and thanks. I think it's important to remember that God doesn't need the praise or the thanks. God is all that is. God doesn't need anything else. God already is all that is. So therefore we don't need to give because God needs it. It is for our own good. We need to give praise and thanks because we need to bring up within ourselves an awareness, an appreciation, a recognition, and a realization of the good that we are, because we are made in the image and likeness of God. So therefore we are it. We need to recognize it and make it a reality in our lives. So we need to praise and give thanks because we need that recognition to be able to bolster ourselves up into our greater good.
Agree.
Good.
Not that you thought I wouldn't, right? Well, looking at the idea of thanksgiving, I would like to recognize that probably all of us have a learned behavior of giving thanks. And so maybe we're in the grocery store pushing our cart down the aisle and someone moves their cart off to the side for us to get by and we say thank you. And that is thanksgiving. Maybe a friend sends us a birthday card and again we say thank you for remembering my birthday, recognizing me. Or someone holds a door for us and we say thank you. Gives us a compliment, we say thank you. It is a good habit to say thank you, and still for me, it is a learned behavior. I can remember many times, and I do believe I just said this week to one of my students, what do you say? Do you remember saying that to any children in your lives? When someone gave them something, they're like, oh, great, can I go play with it now? And you're like, well, what do you say? So we teach our society to say thank you. But I wonder if we actually teach our society to be thankful. And so that brings me, for me, to the idea of gratitude. Now I know that I have my own way of thinking of things, as we all do, but I'm willing to admit it for myself. I know that in the dictionary it says that thankful and grateful are synonyms. Within me, they don't feel exactly like synonyms. Gratitude feels like a much deeper, heartfelt, purposeful idea. And I'm going to share a little more about how and why I feel that way. So there is a woman named Laura in North Carolina, and she tells about how she was in a space in her life where things were just really, really difficult. She was challenged. It felt to her as though she was challenged by everything. Her work environment, her marriage, her children, just her daily living had become a struggle. And she felt depression setting in and she just didn't know what to do. And she lived like this for a while when one day she decided that she was just going to take a walk. And so she put the leash on her dog because she liked to take the dog for a jog through the woods. And as she was going through the woods, suddenly before that, as she was jogging through the woods, she was noticing what a gray, cloudy day it was. And these are my words, but in her description, I was hearing the words, lousy weather, lousy life. Lousy weather, lousy life. And she was making the connection between the clouds and the gray and her own life. And suddenly, her dog just stopped in the path. And so she stopped, and she didn't know what was going on, so she looked around, and she looked up, and she noticed that a hole was forming in the clouds. And she stood and watched as the clouds just separated, and she could see the brilliant blue. And then she saw the sun shining through, and the rays came down, and she could see them filtering down. It was fall, and there was a tree on the path up ahead where the sun was shining. And the leaves had not fallen off the tree yet, and so they were all golden. They had changed color. And she noticed that as the sun lit up the tree, it was brilliant golden reflection. And in that moment, something within her changed. Now she says that she recognized gratitude. Here is where gratitude becomes, well, I never thought of this word, but I was just going to say it, so I'm going to say it. Gratitude.
I like that.
I do too. Gratitude. Gratitude is gratitude. Gratitude is those moments when we have a God experience, when we see the light, we see and feel the golden truth of unity, of all life, of oneness, of our life with all life, heir to the kingdom. And so I didn't come up with gratitude at the time, but thank you, God. But what I did come up with was these words that we can carry with us. Great, G-R-E-A-T, Great-Fullness. You go back. I don't choke on my tongue anymore.
Great-Fullness.
Oh yeah, but we're going to take it a little bit higher and a little bit bigger. So every time I would think to myself, great fullness, I would think great fullness. And when I said that to David this week, he goes, oh, you mean abundance? And I said, sure. So what is great fullness for you? It is truly those God moments, those times when we tap into unity, when we are truly in touch with one life, living itself in, as, and through us, individually, collectively. Ernest Holmes says that gratitude is one of the chief graces of human existence and is crowned in heaven with a consciousness of unity. Gratitude is crowned in heaven with a consciousness of unity. Well, being as how we believe heaven to be a state of mind and not a place that you can one day get to so that you're crowned, it's a state of gratitude that leads us into an understanding of unity with all our brothers and sisters, with all of life, with all of nature, with everything that surrounds us. And if there is a part of our world that is out of balance, it is for us to have so much gratitude that we are brave enough to look at how to make change in that, whether it's in our own body, in our own affairs, or in our world. It is for us to love life so completely and be so grateful for our life that we feel great fullness and we step out there and give what is ours to give to make the world a better place. So I invite you to do that with me. It really, really feels good. Gratefulness. Ready? Get those hands. I don't care if you go this way or this way. Go whatever way you want. But feel the fullness of life. Ready? And don't hit the people near you. Ready? Go. Gratefulness. Again. Gratefulness. Doesn't it just feel good? It feels like you recognize that one power and presence within you. And you have the strength and the power to move out, to step out of your comfort zone and say and do what needs to be done to help this world be a place that works for everyone. Ernest Holmes also wrote, now let me go back to that other one, gratitude is crowned in heaven with a consciousness of unity. He wrote, unity means that everything draws its strength, its power, and its ability to live from one source. That for me, regardless of Laura's experience, but as she took me down that story, that for me was what she was feeling. The splendor, the awe, the wonder of being in that moment and seeing something that no one else on earth was seeing. Almost as if God was sending her a message that life is golden. Why aren't you making it so? I have given you this abundant life. Feel grateful for it. Don't get stuck in the complications. Absolutely, we all have challenges in our life. If you don't, come talk to me. I'd love to know what exactly it is you're doing. But I believe that we all have challenges in our life from time to time. And we are going to walk that path through the challenge. What we get to decide is how. We get to decide whether or not we're going to walk through with a grateful heart, recognizing everything we can possibly call to our attention to share gratitude and know abundance and know this too shall pass, or whether we're going to walk through it gloomy, whether we're going to walk through it with the lousy weather, lousy life. It is always a choice. So, gratitude, unity, gives us strength, gives us power, and gives us the ability to live through this one life. I thought to myself that what Laura was experiencing was like 20/20 vision. She was seeing rightly. And we talk about seeing rightly and living rightly a lot in this teaching. Seeing rightly. She was experiencing a gratitude that had such gratefulness that she could not see the gray anymore. She could only see the golden light, the perfect path. And she does go on to say that as she started to continue her run, she had noticed previously that she was tripping over all the roots that were in the path. But after she had that experience, when she continued her run, there was no more tripping over anything. She felt like she was just flying and soaring over the roots and landing in the perfect places along the path. Isn't it interesting that what we look for, we're looking from? What we're looking at out there is what we are thinking about, what we are creating for ourselves. It has been written that some people could be given an entire field of roses and only see the thorns in it. Others could be given a single weed and only see the wild flower in it. Perception is a key component to gratitude, and gratitude is a key component to joy. So if we want to experience great joy this Thanksgiving, we need to step into that feeling of gratefulness and know that it is us. It is already there. It is within us. And all we have to do is direct our attention to it and filter out anything that is unlike it. And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.